Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
Buddy, two Sports on Tap. This football show. This is the Week 1 recap I can't believe it's already 1 week in. The high school football season is officially kicked off, and Sports on Tap is here to bring you everything you need to know about the Southwestern Conference, the Greater Cleveland Conference, the Suburban League, and the Cleveland West Conference. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Josh Jeffy, Professor Hype, Sean Duffy, and Dr. Hoops, Noah Jacobson. And we are live to you on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check us out. Subscribe, hit the like buttons at Sports on Tap. Follow us on Twitter/X at SOT Podcasts. Check us out on Spotify for audio as well at Sports on Tap. We are also on Threads at SOT_podcasts. Our Facebook page is Sports on Tap. Our website with all the information you need to know is at sportsontappodcast.com. And any questions, comments, pronunciations, suggestions, statistics, anything you want to reach the show, make sure you send us an email at sportsontappodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to our tremendous sponsors. You get to hear about them before the show. We'll play another snippet of them in the middle of our show, and then again at the end. The high school football high school football season has kicked off. As we normally do, we will start with our recaps. We are going to be joined by two student athletes from the Medina Battling Bees. We'll be joined by Talon Hulvey and Cooper Josepchik of the Medina Bees. We'll talk about the Medina game against Stowe here in a little bit. We will go through our conferences as well. We will also go through go to the results of the Raymond Felton State Farm Player of the Week contest, and then we'll wrap up with where we're going to be on this beautiful Labor Day weekend. Let's get to it here as we normally do. We are going to start with the Southwestern Conference. Rob Troutman everyone knows everything about the Southwestern Conference, and there's a ton of games to get through, so let's not waste any time. Rob, take it away.
All right, guys, let's first start at Berea Mid-Park. They hosted Brunswick. Brunswick had a chance to see what they had with their new head coach, and it was a close one. I mean, what a back-and-forth battle this was. Titans quarterback Danny Bowser, he had 3 touchdowns in the game, 2 running. He also had 1 passing in this game. I mean, he was a pretty important piece of this offense. They were trailing this game, Brunswick was trailing in the 4th quarter, but they tied it up at 27. And give Brunswick credit in this game. They didn't give up, and they came back and were able to get it knotted up at 27 right before time expired. So the Titans, though, they would eventually come back and drive down to the Brunswick 6-yard line, and that's where Titans quarterback Danny Bowser would run it in for the win. 34-27 is the final score. The Titans were victorious here as they beat Brunswick in Brunswick's first game. You got to be pretty happy with the way Brunswick performed in that game, Josh. After seeing a Brunswick team from last year, and I know you were at the Greater Cleveland Conference. Now Noah's there. What did you think about seeing Brunswick put up 27 points in their first game? I mean, I was a little surprised they put that kind of points up in a new offense, really.
Well, I think Noah can speak more to this, but I mean, even last year, Noah said, Brunswick has the makings of a very competitive team. They're very competitive against some of your higher level teams in the GCC, Cleveland Heights being one of them. And yeah, they came out with the new offense. Sean Bennett throwing the ball around. They're less of the, hey, let's do the 10-yard out pass, quarterbacks run. Now they're more of the 4 or 5 wide, throwing the ball down the field. And let's see how they do. Noah, your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely, Josh. I mean, the game was really close at the end, and I could tell Coach Carter's message when they were down by 14 points, like, hey, this game's not over yet. We have a chance to really come back and tie this game up. But eventually they did come up short, but what a great effort by Coach Carter's team, and really against a really great Berea Mid-Park team. And it's going to be a great challenge going up against the Olmsted Falls in week 2 in the home opener. And I'm really excited to see how they're going to compete against these Bulldogs on Friday night for week 2.
Absolutely. So good coverage there, and we'll see how Brunswick will bounce back. Great win for Coach Hunick and the Berea Mid-Park Titans. Again, they win 34-27. Now moving to Elyria, the Pioneers, they traveled to Mayfield, and before the game, Elyria captains went to midfield for the coin toss with a number 8 B.J. Todd jersey. The former teammate, he did pass away in May, and they want to dedicate this season to him, and a nice display from them, as it was sad in the beginning, and they poured their hearts out there, did the Pioneers. And once the game started, though, it was a slow start for both teams, really. It was a scoreless first quarter, but Elyria got the scoring started in the second quarter, and it was quarterback Stephen Gilbert. He was able to lead his team on an 8-play, 80-yard drive that culminated in an 18-yard pass to Steve Maher. The Pioneers, they led 7-0, but Mayfield, they'd score twice and tack on a safety in the second half as they pulled away out of this one, 16-7. Elyria, Jacob Bradley, he caught a 46-yard pass and had 22 yards rushing. Running back Kevin Jordan had 22 yards rushing as Mayfield pulled it out 16-7 over the Pioneers of Elyria. All right, Olmsted Falls, they traveled to Solon, and this was a good one. A lot different from last year. I was at last year's game where Olmsted Falls dominated from the get-go. This time, Olmsted Falls only scored 3 first-half points in the game, and opening in the second half is where Coach DeLuca must have said something in that locker room, because in the second half, Jimmy Russell would score on 4th down that led into the end zone. Olmsted Falls then blocked a 36-yard game-tying field goal. Olmsted Falls in the second half did most of their scoring. They scored 16 points, or actually 13 points in the second half. Bulldogs running back Owen Singleton rushed for over 104 yards and a touchdown on the night. You'll remember that name because he was there last year, only a junior for them. The Bulldogs blocked the game-tying 36-yard field goal by Solon as the time expired. Olmsted Falls gets away with a win. They sneak away here, 16-13 over Solon, in what was a really impressive game for the Comets of Solon to hang around and really battle that one. North Ridgeville traveling to North Olmsted, and this one was a little bit of a surprise. I knew North Ridgeville had a lot of returning players coming back, and they started the scoring quick with a 38-yard touchdown by Tavon Swain. After an Eagle turnover, Charlie Steinmetz got in the end zone with a 26-yard run. This was all the Rangers as they would score 48 points in this game, shut out the North Olmsted Eagles for their first win of the season. 48-0 was the final score in this one. The Rangers also had other scores from Zach Barnhart. He scored twice in this game, and the running back's back. He's not injured this season, and he's ready to go. Ryan Anderson, a wide receiver that Coach Morgan told us to look for. Quarterback Cole Miller, he also had a touchdown pass to Tavon Swain. Again, Rangers win 48-0. Avon Lake traveling to Strongsville. And the Shoremen, they wanted to face the new Strongsville head coach, Jason Trusnick, who you might know used to play for the Cleveland Browns, and he's still in the Strongsville area. He's been there for a while now. Avon Lake turned a turnover into a late first quarter touchdown with Shoreman quarterback Alex A. Falter connecting with Aiden Stewart. This is his first touchdown of his high school career. He didn't have any touchdowns last season, but they would connect again. It was impressive to know that he didn't score last year, but this year he's looking to have that huge impact. He scored twice in this game, had 124 yards, did Aiden Stewart, on 5 catches, and those were in the first 2 quarters. Alex Afalter, the quarterback for Avon Lake, 18 of 25. He had 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also added 37 yards on the ground. The Shoreman offense, they compiled 352 yards. They beat Strongsville 21-12 as they get their first win of the season. Amherst traveling to Copley. These two teams were back and forth for most until the third quarter. Then Amherst would score 20 unanswered points. They pull away and hold on to a 34-18 win. J.R. Byers in our
in the Southwestern Conference Player of the Week, rushing for 213 yards and a touchdown. Quarterback Cole Norris, he had a great night as well, 160 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, but J.R. Byers really on the ground, had 35 carries. He really carried the Amherst offense and put him in position to score. Eli Solak, the wide receiver, also scored in the game. Amherst wins their first game, 34-18 over Copley. The Southwestern Conference game of the week that I was at took me to Midview, where Westlake would travel to Midview. And both these teams, you could tell, standing on the sideline, they were ready for the Friday Night Lights. They were pretty pumped up on each side, getting ready to play. In Westlake, they would have a great drive into Midview territory. They were deep in Midview territory, but a huge hit would turn the ball over, and you can go to Sports on Tap's YouTube page for all the highlights of that game. But Midview, they held strong until they would have the ball, and then they would turn it over, and that's where Demons linebacker Jake Ostrowski would pick the ball up off the Middies fumble and score for 6 points. The field goal was good. The Middies, though, they returned the kickoff deep into Westlake territory and would score on a running back Marcus McMahon touchdown. Again, Westlake quarterback Sam Brucieri, he led his team down the field and scored on his own to take a 14-7 lead. And this is a kid that's about 6'4", 6'5", and I'm just going by what I saw and was really impressive. Threw a great ball. He got hit a little bit. His offensive line broke down. Maybe something to improve on going into week 2, but they did a lot of good things on the offense in the first half. The Middies running back Michael Passarello Jr., he would answer with a touchdown run. He tied it at 14. It was 14-14 at half. And then in the second half, it was all Midview. They got stops multiple times to start the second half. They eventually jumped out to a 27-14 lead. Now, one impressive thing for Midview, and Ed, you're going to like this one. Midview kicker Ethan Morris, he had field goals of 42 and 45 yards, and he probably could have made it from 60 the way he kicked. I mean, a very impressive kicker to look out for this season. That is a huge weapon when you can kick that far out. EC transfer Shea Williams, he threw for a touchdown and ran another one for Midview, and he looked really impressive, and he had control of that offense. Michael Passarello Jr. had 2 touchdowns as, again, Midview dominates the second half, and they get away with a 34-14 win. Westlake, though, they hung around in that first half, and they look like a different team. I mean, they have a lot of talent there, but it seemed like Midview really wore down that offensive line for Westlake, and something that they're going to have to do offensively, I think, is get rid of the ball quick with Sam back there, because he's a tall quarterback, throws a really good ball. He can run a little bit, but there were times I thought he might have held on to the ball a little bit too long, and that Midview defense swarmed on him. So a 34-14 win. And our last game, Noah went to an Avon against St. Ignatius at Cleveland Brown Stadium. And I know Noah was like a kid in a candy store at Cleveland Brown Stadium, as that was a heck of a game, Noah.
Yeah, definitely, Rob. And what a great night it was just growing up as a fan of the stands, being at Cleveland Brown Stadium on that field. It's just a dream come true. And the stars were out that night. I saw Browns quarterback Barry Kosar was even at that game. So it was a great team,
Very cool.
Great game between 2 great programs. I mean, St. Ignatius, the 11th-time state champions, going up against the Avon Eagles, who won been the Sweet 16s each of the last 7 years, and this game did not disappoint. Avon was jumping out to a 21-0 start, guys. What a start for the Eagles, as 4-5 different running backs really contributed in this game. I'll even mention them: Owen Rittenhouse, Nick Colborn, Cam Wendo, Tyler Kaufman, and Owen Colwell. I mean, what a night for the running backs, but what a night for quarterback Nolan Good. What a great game he was. He was moving all over the ball, even contributing, not just throwing, but just really running the ball. He did a great job. He was 14-22 for 100 yards and a touchdown. He also did have 64 yards rushing the ball. But St. Ignatius was able to capitalize on a touchdown that's made it 21-7. And then Avon had a chance to get a field goal to end the first half, but couldn't get to do it. That would have made the score 24-7. And then St. Ignatius really kind of made the game even closer in that, making it 28-14. And then give credit to Avon's defense. They made some really big plays in the fourth quarter, guys. There have been a couple of times where Ignatius, they did go for fourth down, but they really couldn't get it past the first down. But give credit to Avon's defense. They really stepped up in the second half as the Avon Eagles would open up the 2024 campaign with a 42-21 win over St. Ignatius. And I got a chance to talk with a couple of players after the game, Coach Mike Elder, quarterback Nolan Good, and even Jeremiah Kelly. So if you want to check out those highlights and interviews, make sure you check it out at sportsontappodcast.com.
Yeah, great job, Noah, with that. And I'm showing the video now. And, one thing I was interested to see how Nolan Good would come back, from injury. How did he look in the game? Because it looked like he commanded the offense. And the offense, putting up 42 points against St. Ignatius is pretty impressive.
Yeah, Nolan Good, he really bounced back from that injury like you were talking about. He had that ACL injury in the regional semifinal game against Olmsted Falls, and he did not disappoint, just like running the ball. Just really kind of spin it. Kind of reminded me of Josh Allen a little bit, kind of just like spinning around, finding his wide receivers in that. But the one thing I wanted to talk about, guys, is that one-handed catch, how it was not overturned. What a catch that was. Kind of reminded me of Odell Beckham Jr. making that catch. But what a great catch, how it was not overturned. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that catch about that. But again, what a great night for Nolan Good and the Avon Eagles as they would take down the Wildcats 42-21.
Yeah, and Tyler Kaufman got into the end zone. I just showed that one-handed catch. And, for the first time we tried TikTok a little bit on Friday night. And, boy, I'll tell you what, it couldn't come at a perfect time. Putting that clip up there got all kinds of crazy views. And obviously, what a catch that was. And, to me, it was close. It looked like it might have been in bounds. I thought he was in bounds, but, from the video, but it was tough to see. But what a game it was, and it looked like the crowd was great. The Avon faithful really came and really lit it up there, I thought. So what a fun game to be a part of. You did a great job, and congratulations to the Eagles on a big first win of the week. Now let's look into the Southwestern Conference in Week 2, and it's Amherst taking on Buckeye. How about this? Avon hosts Canton McKinley. Benedictine and Avon Lake. Nordonia takes on Berea Mid-Park. That should be a great one. Lorraine and Elyria. North Olmsted takes on Midview. North Ridgeville hosts Valley Forge. And Olmsted Falls takes on Brunswick. So there are some really Olmsted Falls and Brunswick. I think that should be a really good game. So I'm interested to see how Brunswick's going to come out and fire in that one, because like I said, I was pretty impressed with that game one. Olmsted Falls is going to have to come out and fire on all cylinders there, like they did, but they always find ways to win. So a good win for Coach DeLuca there at Olmsted Falls. A lot of great games in Week 2.
No doubt. With Noah kind of wrapping up coverage of the Southwestern Conference, let's just jump to him right now for the Greater Cleveland Conference. Their Week 1 recaps. Go ahead, Noah.
Well, thank you, Ed. Yeah, what a great week for the Greater Cleveland Conference. Let's start off with the Brunswick Blue Devils taking on Berea Mid-Park. Like Rob was talking about, a very close game at the start. It was 20-10 at halftime, but then Brunswick was able to tie it up 27-27 with 3:01 left to go. But then the Titans would score a game-winning touchdown with 27 seconds left as Berea Mid-Park would beat the Blue Devils 34-27. Quarterback Sean Barnett was 18-30 for 291 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Cooper Neal had 6 carries for 58 yards. Wide receiver Hayden Swarm had 8 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. And then the next game, Cleveland Heights will be taking on Trotwood Madison. This was a 6-0 game, guys. Not too many teams have a 6-0 game, but what a great night for the defense. How they really preserved a shutout in this game. So give credit to the Tigers defense. But Marquise Davis had 13 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. And then they really preserved with 119 rushing yards the whole game as Cleveland Heights would win 6-0 over Trotwood Madison. And then Euclid was taking on Austintown Fitch. Keyshawn Telfair did have an interception in this game. Tremaine Dawson did have a touchdown. And then Kylan Stuball had a touchdown pass to Amari Friesen, but Austintown Fitch was just too powerful in this one as they would take down the Panthers 49-12. And then the Medina Bees were taking on the Stowe Bulldogs. The GCC Player of the Week, Hasan Diallo, was 23 of 43 for 397 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jackson Rifle had 4 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Brian Wiltshire had 6 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown. But give credit to Medina's defense. They had 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns. Cam Sokolati had a 40-yard touchdown, and coming up pretty soon, who'll be joining on the show, Town Hovey, he did have a 55 interception return for a touchdown. But as Medina would win 42-14 over the Stowe Morrell the Bulldogs. And then the Menor Cardinals were taking on the Jackson Polar Bears. This was a game last year that was pretty close, guys. But this game was featured and favored by Menor 36-13 over the Polar Bears. Quarterback Scotty Fox was 7-12 for 188 yards and 3 touchdowns. Running back Jackson Farley had 18 carries for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Linebacker Spencer Barninger did have 10 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss with a forced fumble. What a great game that he had for the Cardinals defense as the Cardinals would beat the Polar Bears 36-13. And then Shaker Heights, they were taking on Willoughby South. Quarterback Jakir Addy was 12 of 18 for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did have 14 carries for 54 yards. Running back Cornell Beeler has 17 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown. He also did have 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Lyndon Chyway had 2 catches for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Red Raiders would beat Willoughby South 28-14. And then lastly, Strongsville was taking on Avon Lake. Quarterback Nolan Beard was 11-17 for 76 yards and a touchdown. Running back Hendrick Bode had 94 yards and a touchdown. And then Nolan Beard's only touchdown of the game was to Matt Wilkinson. And that is the Greater Cleveland Conference Week 1 recap for this week. And then moving forward for Week 2 this week, Olmsted Falls will be taking on Brunswick. Cleveland Heights will be taking on Detroit Martin Luther King Jr. out of Michigan. Perry will be taking on Euclid. Medina will be taking on Olentangy. Menor versus St. Ignatius. Shaker Heights versus Brush. And then Strongsville will be traveling to Solon.
Hey, great recap there, gentlemen. Hey, Rob, I'm not. You may have covered this, and I apologize. Your Southwestern Conference Player of the Week nominee for the Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance Contest. Who was that?
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. That was J.R. Byers from Amherst. As he had 213 yards and a touchdown for the Comets and really controlled that offensive running game for them and had a great game in a win against Copley again this year. So J.R. Byers was my Raymond Felton State Farm Player of the Week.
Very good.
And there's 8 minutes, or actually it says 6 minutes left to vote, and it's getting closer. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Make sure you hit us up on our social media outlets. I believe it's specifically on Twitter at X at SOT Podcast. Get those last second votes in and see who will come away as the winner of the first winner of the 2024 season for the Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week contest here. Noah, while we have a few minutes here before our guests come on Cleveland Heights, Trotwood Madison, good teams. After Marquise Davis scored, you'd think that would open up the floodgates. Why do you think that? I mean, besides good defenses, obviously, we're not used to seeing Cleveland Heights score a little amount of points, let alone 6 points, and then that being it. What do you think happened on on the Cleveland Heights end, and they weren't able to get completely on track.
Well, Ed, I feel like that probably Madison probably came into this game with a probably better game plan. I mean, they knew Marquise Davis would possibly have a good game. I mean, running the ball and the offensive line. So I feel like they probably had the better game plan on defensively against Marquise Davis and the Tigers.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Trotwood Madison and Sean can speak to this too. They're pretty good. They're traditionally a pretty good team down from the Dayton area. They're definitely no slouch, by any stretch of the imagination.
No, Trotwood Madison is a team that's built very much like Cleveland Heights, but also very much like a Glenville type school where they kill you with speed. And that's how they win a lot of their games is it becomes a track meet. But again, saying nothing against their toughness, that's a team that understood the assignment to go up there, who they were playing. That was a well scouted team, and the fact that they were only giving up 6 points against a team like Cleveland Heights, which averaged I think around 34 last year per game, that's a testament to number one traveling that amount up there and being able to block out the noise that is the Cleveland Heights. So, kudos to Trotwood Madison. They didn't get it done, but yeah, Trotwood Madison has been. I mean, now back in my day when I played Trotwood Madison, they weren't known to be a consistent team. But since I've left and since I've kind of kept my ear to the ground in the Dayton area football, Trotwood Madison has become a powerhouse. And a lot of that has to do with the culture. A lot of that has to do with the identity of that team being a speed team, being a team that beats you physically and with their game plans.
And no doubt, and that we saw that was on full display against what is expected to be a top contender for the Division One state championship this year in Cleveland Heights. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Hear a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll be joined by two members of the Medina Battling Beast football team, student athletes Talon Hulvey and Cooper Josefchik. They'll join us on the other side, and then we'll finish up with the Suburban League, the Cleveland West Conference, the results of the Raymond Felton State Farm Player of the Week contest, and tell you guys where we are going to be next week. This is Sports on Tap's coverage of the high school football season, the Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance High School Football Show, and we'll see you on the other side.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
Farm Insurance High School Football Show here on Sports on Tap. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Josh Jeffy, Sean Duffy, Noah Jacobson, and of course Rob Troutman. We just got done with the recaps of the Southwestern Conference and the Greater Cleveland Conference. Ahead of here, we'll be talking about the Suburban League, the Cleveland West, the Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week contest, and where we are going to be next week. But for now, we are joined by two student athletes from Medina High School. We're joined by Talon Hulvey and Cooper Josefczyk of the Medina Bees. Guys, thanks for taking the time to join us tonight. How are we doing?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Good. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Guys, and it doesn't matter who answers this question, but a big win against Stowe. Stowe's traditionally a pretty good program. You guys have had a pretty good run here the last few years. But talk about the Stowe game. What were some of the turning points, and just your thoughts about the game overall?
Tom, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
All right.
I'll add on.
This week we just really focused on our fundamentals and just the basics, getting aligned, just doing what we had to do. We focused on us, not so much the other team, and just what we've really had to do. First half was rough. I think we just had the first game jitters. But once we calmed down, we really got in our stuff. We got in our bag, and we just closed the game out strong.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So like Cooper said, first half was kind of, as expected, like our coach said, getting the first game jitters gone, then, coach pulled us aside and said, we got to pick up our stuff during the second half. And, we did what he said, and, it turned out great.
Question I want to ask you guys was, going into that game, you prepped pretty much all offseason for that game against Stowe. Was there anything that surprised either one of you on either side of the ball that maybe you weren't as prepared for, or maybe you guys weren't expecting, just given all the preparation you guys had done prior to that?
I think from my perspective, the thing that I wasn't ready for is the pace. Just going through the whole summer, we've had going against our offense, they run. I mean, through the summer, it's not really the same as a game. It's more slow pace, but once you get in a game like that, man, it's completely different. So the change of the pace from 2 days summer practice to the actual game was eye-opening to me, but something I just got to get used to.
Yeah, for sure. We have a 5-wide offense, usually only pass only, and that's what we usually play against in scrimmage and practice. So like when they first came out and started running the ball on us, we weren't used to it, so it just kind of surprised us off the gate a little bit, but we started to get used to it a little bit more as the game went on. So
Cooper and Talon.
Oh, go ahead, Noah. Go ahead.
Cooper and Talon, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us tonight. One of the things that really sticks out to me, Cooper, is that during that playoff run last year, you were playing a little bit of a running back, just kind of trucking guys over. And I can even see, and when you ever make those tackles, I can see you even getting a little hyped up after that play. Just kind of talk about, if you had to play one position, whether it was linebacker or running back, which one would it be?
Oh, man, you're putting me in a bind, Noah. I don't know. I grew up playing running back. I loved it. I love playing it, but I think playing linebacker is my strong suit. It's something I've really developed into, and man, making those hits, like across the middle or against someone is different, man. And I think over the time and playing both positions, I'd choose linebacker.
Hey guys, I was curious. It's for the past I don't know how many years when we talk about Medina, the thing that comes to mind is offense, high-powered offense. We called you guys the Air Bees the last few years. Well, this year there was some questions about how the offense was going to do. You got a brand new quarterback coming in. So as defenders, did you guys feel coming into the season that you guys had to step up a little bit and take more of that leadership role and take more of a dynamic on the defense and show, you guys have the solid defense over the past couple of years, but it has been overshadowed by that offense. So did you feel any kind of sense of urgency to kind of really put, everyone else on notice that, hey, Medina's defense is pretty darn good?
For sure. With a bunch of we had 10 guys graduate that started last year from our offense. Like you said, it kind of overshadowed our defense, but this year we had some question marks on offense. So our defense really had to step up and be the name for our team, but that's not who we are as a team at all. I mean, our defense is, I think, amazing. It could be one of the top 5 defenses in the state, but our offense has amazing athletes. You know, Kaysen's been playing great. Our receivers have really stepped up into the roles they needed to take. And I don't think that we're just a defense heavy team. I think our offense is still super high powered.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Cooper was saying, our offense is definitely up there. Even though we lost all of our guys last year, doesn't mean, we're gonna be overshadowed or anything like that. We're just one team. We just both do our stuff, and I think this year, like, we're all good. We got athletes on both sides of the ball, and we got a lot of playmakers too. So.
Well, Talon, talking to Hodke, he was telling us that you had your 19th career interception, and you had 2 interceptions last week, one being a pick 6 that went 55 yards. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, that takes some instincts, and you got to have good instincts, and you got to be at the right place at the right time to have 19 interceptions in your career. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I know it's probably weird to hear career in there, but to have 19, talk a little bit about that. And I know, Cooper, you had a big game with tackles, and you did have 3 runs against Stowe. So we'll get to you right after Talon answers his interception question here.
So yeah, I mean, it feels good. I gotta thank a lot of the coaches and stuff like that. Weiss and Coach Reisner really been working with me and getting my eyes right. So originally, my sophomore year, I had some trouble with that, trying to find, QB to receiver. But, after years of working with them and, Coach Bowers and all that, they just been really taught me, how to, fit in my position and play it the best of my ability. So, it's just working process, I think I definitely can get better. But, yeah, so as of right now, I think I'm pretty happy with my my performance, but definitely can be better. So
now, is that like you talk about the coaches seeing, so you can see the quarterback and the offensive wide receiver? Is that drills that they're having you go through so you can get quicker and kind of know where the ball is?
Yeah, so we do a variety of amount of drills and practice. From Coach Reisner, Coach Weiss would, simulate an in-game, scenario where we had some of, our guys as receivers going full speed and them being a quarterback. We just go from, quarterback to receiver and just finding the ball and just kind of stuff like that,
Okay. Cool. And Cooper, you had 12 tackles against Stowe and also 3 runs. Noah kind of talked about it. You play both sides of the ball, probably when needed. You're flying around versus Stowe. Obviously, you're the second guy to say they prefer defense over offense, which doesn't happen too often. But talk about your game against Stowe, and obviously, having 12 tackles, you had 7 assists and 5 solo tackles there. Obviously, you were all over the field. What was it that you enjoy on defense, flying around and making those hits?
Yeah. Well, first, I just got to thank my D-line and the rest of the defense for setting me up to make plays like that. Without them, I wouldn't.
Good call.
You would have heard about it tomorrow, boy. I tell you that.
Talon would have chewed me out. But yeah, I just got to thank them guys for just helping me make them plays. Really, throughout the week, watching a ton of film, watching what they do, any keys that I can pick up to know ahead of the play what's going to happen, where the ball is going to go, what the linemen are going to do, really helped me just play the best that I could Friday. But I think there's a lot of stuff I still need to work on. I missed a lot of easy things that I should have read being a 3-year starter, and I'm not really ecstatic with the way I played. But there's a lot I can improve on and a lot that I will improve on.
Well, the good thing it was only week 1, so you have 9 other weeks to get it right there.
for the playoffs, of course.
Yeah.
For the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're joined by two second-team All-Ohio defenders from the Medina Bees, Cooper Josefsik and Talon Holvey. Talon, going back to the interception part of it, I think me and Rob combined had 9 when we were playing safety. I had 7 my senior year, and I thought that was good. 19, not so good. 19, infinitely better than 7. It's I think Cooper hit it right. I mean, the front 7 definitely makes the free safety's job a lot easier when the front 7's clicking on all cylinders. I can tell you that from experience. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, this week, this week you guys are going against Olentangy, a familiar foe from last year. Last year didn't go the way that you wanted it, but you get another crack at them again this year. Without giving too much away, obviously you're in the early stages of game planning. What are some things that are tough about Olentangy, at least from your guys' end, to defend for them?
Well, to start with, from a linebacker perspective, their O-line is really tough. They got some huge kids, very physical, very sound with their technique. And they just want to run the ball from what we've seen in film. And, it's something we got to stop. We didn't do a great job of it last week. We did a terrible job of it last year when we played them. So that's just something we're trying to key in on right now, and just something we're trying to stop.
Yeah, for sure. They also have a lot of good receivers, a lot of tall, quick, receivers. So you just got to key on those guys and make sure, even though they run the ball a lot, they're, going to throw it, here and there. So we got to make sure we're keyed in on them. So.
Guys, one of the things that really sticks out to me is when I interviewed guys back in August, I could see you on the black jerseys that says Dark Side Medina on it. And even whenever you're one of your coaches, whenever you guys make an interception, you guys getting a championship belt on it. Just kind of talk about how that really sticks out to you as a defense and as you guys as a team.
I think it's just one of our ways of having fun. I know football is a super serious physical sport, but you gotta have a little fun with it. From our dark side jerseys, Coach Bowers and the rest of the coaches really find guys that stick out during practice, guys who do the right thing, give 100% every single rep, and they're rewarded with black jerseys. They're leaders of our defense, and it's just a little reward for them. And then as far as the turnover belt, man, it gets lit on the sidelines, man. Like when Talon and Cam got those picks, dude, we were hype on the sideline. We busted out every time we get a turnover or a stop, and it's party.
So what kind of belt? What kind of belt is this? Is this like a WWE, legit belt, or one of those chains, or?
So it's like one of the WWE belts. It's custom made, Medina Dark Side, all that. It's
wow, sweet. Nice.
Yeah, one of our coaches made it too. So.
Yeah, one of our coaches made it and put it together.
Yeah.
So who goes home with it? Like the
coaches.
Oh, the coaches. Okay, yeah. I didn't know if it goes home with a kid. I'm sure that would be.
No, that would be awesome. But like whoever makes the play gets to hold it up in the picture. They get pictures with it. So
nice.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right.
There he is.
Man, she comes at the worst times. All right.
No, she's part of the show, man. She's a regular on this show.
Moving on. Gentlemen, cats aside, thank you. Hey, we can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to join us tonight. Great. Best of luck to you this week against Olentangy and the rest of the year. And we'll see how things shake out. Maybe we can talk to you guys again before the end of the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having us again. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right. We were joined just now by Talon Holvey and Cooper Josefsik of the Medina Bees, both second team All-Ohio Division I defenders. Very good, very, very tough defense that Stowe got to find out quite efficiently. Not only do they hit hard, they score. Pick sixes, 12 tackles by Cooper. It's just, as Sean mentioned, it was a good question that he asked was, the offense for the last few years have gotten a lot of run And defensively, you would think that with, I want to say, a drop off from LR to Stoddard to Kaysen, but you would think the defense feels they need to step up, but Cooper and Talon have said no, we can still score. But now we're just trying to put zeros up on the board. Not only that, we're trying to put the ball in the end zone ourselves, and they've certainly done a good job of that. So we thank them both for joining our show, and the Medina Bees 1-0 again, and they will be they'll be traveling to Olentangy. Olentangy right now is 0-1. They took a loss to Olentangy Liberty 28-0 last week in a home game there. So they're certainly going to be looking to get back on the win side of the column, and Medina will be looking to avenge that loss from last year. All right, let's shift over now to the Suburban League with Josh Jeffy and my colleague, my cohort, my compadre, Sean Duffy. Now, as Josh is going to deal with the Suburban League, as he likes to call it, the Natty, and Sean will be dealing with the Suburban League American Conference. These two got it all worked out, and I'm just gonna hit mute and let them go.
All right, thanks, Ed. Yeah, it's awesome to be back at it, Suburban League. We're going to quickly kind of go over some non-conference games. Like Ed said, Sean and I will kind of mix in when we'd had our inter-conference, division battles or inter-conference battles. So I'm going to kind of go on the game that we just were talking about with the Medina Bees. Noah mentioned it briefly a little earlier. Medina came away with a 42-14 victory, but from the Stowe side, quarterback Jake Harrington, he led the team in rushing, 73 yards. He was also 10 of 25 for 70 yards, and he did have 2 touchdowns. The Medina defense played solid, 3 interceptions in this game. This game was actually tied, though, in the third quarter, so Stowe was playing tough. We talked to the 2 guys from Medina. Maybe some first game jitters were in there, but they reeled off 28 straight points, came away with a 42-14 victory. Dalen Keeling and Nate Brown did have the 2 touchdown receptions for the Bulldogs. So they're looking to, as we mentioned earlier last week on the preview show, they're looking to continue to build and build that culture that they have going on with Coach Potter. The next game, Rob talked about this a little bit earlier as well. Olmsted Falls defeated Solon 16-13. And got to give props to sophomore quarterback Jack Sanders. He started at their 20-yard line late in the fourth quarter, drove them all the way down to the point where they were able to attempt a 36-yard field goal. Of course, as Rob mentioned, that was blocked. But good positives to start the season. Having a good competitive game against the very tough Olmsted Falls teams is what you want. Another sophomore for the Comets, Henry Sharpley. He had over 122 yards in the first half of this game. So those are just some of the positives that for a team like Solon that had a very down year last year can build on and really catapult them towards some better matchups and maybe hopefully some more wins as the season continues. A non-conference game. North Royalton loses to Maple Heights 34-23. Royalton was down 20-0 in the second when quarterback Joe Kinney finally hit Joey Calarco on a 13-yard touchdown pass. In the second half, though, Royalton kind of settled down and fought their way back. Grady Ball had 2 touchdowns that cut the lead to 28-24. But Maple Heights, shortly after Grady's second touchdown, hit a 74-yard touchdown pass, and that kind of put the game out of reach as the North Royalton Bears lose to Maple Heights 34-23. The final non-conference matchup, it was all Nordonia in this one. They defeated Bedford 41-6. Nordonia had 35 unanswered points starting from the second quarter. And they were led by quarterback Ben Chesser, who had 5 total touchdowns in this game. He was 13 of 20 for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns, 66 yards on the ground, plus 3 rushing touchdowns. One of the players of the week last year, Rocco DiLorenzo, 18 rushes for 82 yards. Sam Collins did have a 26-yard touchdown pass, and got to give some love to the defensive guys. Carson Fisher led the Knights with 11 tackles. 10 of those were solo. I want to give quickly a shout out to Roy Powell, Nordonia sending over those stats. If anyone out there would like to send us stats, please send those to sportsontap@gmail.com. That only helps us in our recaps and gets the actual stats correct for these players who so well deserve it. So, Sean, I'll kick it over to you, my friend.
Well, thank you, my compadre, my
not
colleague,
doing it. Nope. That's
right.
you. That's you and Ed thing. We'll just have to naturally. We'll have to naturally come up with something ourselves. It's not there yet. We're not there.
All right. Well, I've been thinking this up, and you have the Natty, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of mad that I didn't think of it before when I covered the entire Suburban League. So I'm gonna go ahead and name mine the America division. Not the I know it's the American division, but the America division. We're gonna start out with our non-conference game. First up, we have Ravenna traveling in to take on the Rough Riders of Kent Roosevelt, and the Rough Riders get off to a great start for 2024 season with a 14-7 victory over Ravenna. That's their first win of the season for Kent Roosevelt. They look to continue that on next week. On the flip side, Cuyahoga Falls Black Tigers, they hosted Akron Firestone. A game occurred, but they ran into a buzzsaw when it came to the old Falcons from Firestone. They lost 34-0. Not much to write home here about Cuyahoga Falls, as it was all Firestone all night. Moving on, Cuyahoga Falls looked to rebound in week 2. Despite a new stadium in Copley, and Rob did touch on this, but a couple of things from the Copley side. This was the first game played in their brand new stadium out there at Copley. But unfortunately, Copley was not able to come away with the win as they dropped 34-18 to Amherst. Copley's quarterback Gabriel Mansell did have a touchdown pass and a touchdown run in this game. That touchdown pass was thrown to Andrew McKnight, but it just wasn't enough as the Amherst Comets come in and spoil the dedication of the new Copley Stadium, 34-18. The final non-conference game for the American Division actually was a fun game. It was a back and forth game between Woodridge and Revere. And prior to this game, the Revere was retiring the number 22 on their basketball team in favor of the entire Nance family. Apparently, all the Nances go there, and the number 22 was retired prior to that. And and Revere did everything they could to make sure they won that game to end the night on an up note, and they certainly did. Running back James Perry scored the only touchdown for Revere, and it was the extra point by the kicker, David Kennedy, that was the difference in this game as Revere ekes out a 7-6 victory over Woodridge to allow that dedication and the retirement of the number 22 in the Revere Minutemen basketball to leave with a victory on Friday night. Now we'll go ahead and we'll start talking about our cross-division games. Josh, I think we'll start off with the one you went to there, which was the Aurora-Twinsburg matchup. And I know you were super excited to go to this game. You were talking about it in the text chain all night prior to that. And let's see what happened there.
Yeah, this was kind of a one-sided affair. The game last year was real close. Aurora came away with a 17-7 victory, but this game was not. It was pretty much all Aurora. All I can say is flat-out domination on the line of scrimmage by the Greenmen. The offensive line for Aurora led the team so they had 278 yards rushing as a team. It was just, I was actually quite shocked, to be honest with you, how just physical and dominating the offensive line was for Aurora. Lucas Manderbach did have 16 carries. He led the way for Aurora. He had 108 yards and a touchdown. They were up 21-0 at half. Twinsburg did have some opportunities. They did get an interception, a long pass that actually went down to the 1-yard line. However, whether first game jitters, we see a lot of that week one in many games, but a lot of sloppy penalties really drove them back to about the 20-yard line, and they just couldn't convert anything. They did try to go for it on fourth down to no avail. They finally, Twinsburg finally got their last score, or their only score, on the final play of the game. Joey Pollock did hit Rob Herndon from 38 yards out as time expired. Got to give credit to Ben Lukasic. He did have a nice 67-yard pick six. You could see all that highlight and all of them from that game on our YouTube page. Talked to Coach Mahalik afterwards, and he just, pretty much emphasized that the game of football still won in the trenches, basically. And they felt like they had a good opportunity to play well and play well on both sides of the ball in the trenches. And they did. They came out. It's definitely a learning experience for Twinsburg. They showed kind of some of their youth, especially on the offensive line. They did lose. They are starting 2 or 3 sophomores on the offensive line, and that really came to show. But they'll bounce back. I'm sure of it. Coach Salters has that team ready. Great atmosphere at Twinsburg. My first time there. So it was good. Definitely a learning experience for them. They'll come back stronger from Aurora. Looks really good. And their quarterback did not have to do much in terms of throwing the ball. He only had 12 passing attempts. But when your offensive line is blocking like they are, and you're able to run up almost 300 yards rushing offense, passing is just secondary.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And now we'll move on to another cross-division game where a Suburban Natty team got the better of a Suburban America team, and that's the Wadsworth Grizzlies getting a 42-0 beatdown of the Barberton Magics at Barberton. Josh, this was all Grizzlies all night.
Yeah, and just like kind of Medina with losing all the players on offense, Wadsworth lost Will Stack and Kyle Figueroa, both key contributors, awesome contributors to the team last year. But Gavin Madigan, Cooper Gray, they stepped up to combine for 240 yards rushing and a touchdown. How about this? Calix Lemp, 3 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 87 yards for him. So quarterback stepping in, junior Ryan Stoops, he had 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown running. And freshman Bryson Hall got in there, and he threw 2 touchdown passes. So Wadsworth starting to get the younger guys in there as well. And, you were talking about offense, but the Wadsworth defense in this one stepped up huge. They only gave up 62 yards of total offense to the Magic. So not much could be said about that, just another total domination.
Yeah, I mean, Barberton, again, was in that same position. They lost a lot of players last year, a lot of the really good players. You want to see them bounce back. Obviously, maybe running into a team that they just weren't ready for, and a Wadsworth team, they'll look to bounce back next week. Now we come to the last 2 games, and probably the 2 best games out of this cross-division matchup. We'll start first with Highland and Hudson, and Josh and I had a conversation, I think last week, that, we were trying to figure out which game we should go to, and Highland and Hudson was a game that we were talking about, and we decided not to, and we missed a doozy, I think, because this was a great game, back and forth game from what I can tell, and Highland was able to get the victory 31-24. And I'll just throw out some stats here from the Highland side. Hornets rallied down now from 7 points down to come and win by 7. 31-24 over Hudson. Running back and Suburban League Player of the Week nominee Casey Miser had 29 carries in this game, 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miser secured the winning touchdown with just a minute and 4 left in this game. Quarterback Dylan Borla finished the game 12-17, 147 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Wide receiver Evan Faust for the Hornets, 9 catches, 118 yards, and a touchdown in this game was enough for the Highland Hornets to get a week 1 victory over a very, very good Hudson team that were, just as tough against the Hornets.
Yeah, you're correct. And just from the Hudson side, quarterback Nathan Judy, a solid night, 12 of 20, 154 yards and a touchdown. Reno Ferry, 10 rushes, 97 yards, 1 touchdown. Going into the season, we all had the question, who's going to step up and fill the role, a huge role that Ian Ludwig had for this Hudson team last year. And Reno stepped up pretty well. Almost 100 yards in his first game in 2024. Brendan Funyak also added a 6-yard touchdown run. And, real quick, got to give props to KC Miser of Highland. He didn't practice for 2 weeks because he was dealing with a skin infection. He came back to have a really, really solid game. And I'll give it to you, Sean. That's a solid nominee for the Raymond Felton, getting a little more classy here. Raymond Felton, State Farm Player of the Week nominee.
Yes, sir. And our last cross conference game or interconference game, however you want to say it, was the game that yours truly attended. The Talmadge Blue Devils traveled to take on the Brecksville Broadview Heights, the Bees of Brecksville Broadview Heights. And I got to tell you, they were weak. I cannot tell you enough. It was eye-opening for me. I'm doing a caricature at best of the announcer, because he's got it, and it's natural, and it's something that I strive to be one day. But that's enough about the atmosphere, which was awesome at Brecksville. Let's talk about the football game. And as I'm going to preface this by saying, if you're a fan of defensive football and offensive teams that couldn't quite get on a momentum, then this was the game for you, because this game, the only touchdown scored in the first 3 quarters was scored by the Brecksville Bees when Nate Henniger connected with Max Ritter to score in the second quarter. That's it. That's the only touchdown we had, the only score we had at any point in time. Again, sloppy. I think both coaches will agree the game was sloppy. There's a lot of penalties. There's a lot of issues. But I will say this, Talmadge's defense was a bend, do not break defense. Mm-hmm. They were able to stop everything Brecksville threw at them after that touchdown was scored in the second quarter, and they were able to right the ship when it mattered. And when I say that, as the game was coming to an end in the fourth quarter, quarterback for Talmadge, Ryan Lovelace, connected with Caleb Reef-Snyder for a 16-yard touchdown across the middle, and I was lucky enough to be in the end zone to see the whole thing play out. It was a fantastic pass. He was wide open. It was such a great touch in that pass. They were able to get the extra point to tie it up, and what happens after that, ladies and gentlemen? We have overtime in week 1. 7-7 game. Yours truly was not sure of how overtime worked in high school. I was at the wrong end of the field. So your boy, I mean, I don't want to talk about speed when you need speed, but I had speed when I needed speed. I got down where all the action was going to take place at the other end of the field. And what I saw was Ryan Lovelace connecting again as Talmadge got the ball to start overtime, connecting with Talon Natcher for a 4-yard touchdown. And it got a little interesting because they did not make the extra point. So Brecksville got the ball to start on the 20-yard line, and they got it all the way down to the 3-yard line. But they were looking to score and kick that extra point and get out of there with a victory, because they had been kind of shell-shocked with the fact that Talmadge was able to come back and win and tie that game up and take a lead in overtime. They got down to the 3-yard line, and that's when everything imploded for the Bees. They were not able to convert. They had a bad sack. They had a couple of penalties that really put them behind the 8 ball. There was no first down. And on 4th down, they threw a pass up that I thought may have a chance to connect in the corner of the end zone. Unfortunately, it was too far out. And guys, Talmadge, after being down 7-0, comes back and wins this game in overtime, 13-7. Again, hats off to the Talmadge defense. I was on the fence with putting up specific guys from the defense, but I got to say, as a team, they understood the mission and were able to basically stop cold everything Brecksville threw at them, and they stunned that Brecksville Broadview, the Bees Stadium, and that was a very, very quiet walkout. If you were walking out with the Brecksville fans, Talmadge lost their mind when this all happened, and it was fantastic.
Sean, you just got to be careful when you find that speed. You may lose some ligaments in your knees, so just be careful.
Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been sore for 3 days after just running down the track, and of course, anybody that saw me, because at that point I was on the Talmadge side, because it was a little bit more clear. I mean, a couple of guys had their head turned because they ain't seen a 40-year-old move like that in a while, and that's some beef moving down the sideline.
I'm gonna guess you didn't walk out of there saying the bees.
No, he was like,
Listen, I understand that what I do is a caricature, and I love it, and I will continue to do it because it's fun to do. But I don't hold a candle to the man, the myth, the legend that does that at B Stadium every Friday night. That guy has it down pat. He uses it, and it's very, very significant to that. So I'm only doing an homage, if you will.
Well, what would you do if we could get you in the booth to actually?
Oh, he'd pucker up, dude.
Do
it's
it.
Not happening.
Do that during the game,
Rob. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Why?
It'd be too tough. But we'll talk about that another time because let's go ahead and preview what the week 2 looks like in the Natty American
There
Division.
You go.
Nice
we'll
segue.
talk about that at another time. So, Josh, what does week 2 look like in the Natty?
Speaking of the bees, thank you. They take on Maple Heights. Hudson has a tough matchup against Tuver. Rob mentioned this earlier. Nordonia easy for me to say. Nordonia and Berea Mint Park has the makings of being one of the better games of week 2. North Royalton will travel to Highland, Strongsville, and Solon. That's going to be a good game. Barberton and Stowe. Akron North will take on Twinsburg, and Wadsworth will play New Albany or Albany, depending on where you're at.
New Albany, it's dealer's choice on how you pronounce that. Well, in the Murica division, we got Lutheran West traveling to take on Aurora. Barberton and Stowe lock horns in a cross-conference matchup. Firestone will travel in to take on Copley. Akron Springfield travels to take on the Black Tigers of Cuyahoga Falls. Again, North Royalton versus Highland, another cross-conference matchup. Kent Roosevelt travels to take on Worcester. Akron Garfield travels in to take on the Minutemen of Revere. And Talmadge will look to continue their winning ways as they host their first game of the year at home, Akron Ellet.
I think we need to decipher. I think we need to decipher now, Ed. When not Ed, Sean. Sorry. When our two teams play each other, it's an interdivision match.
That's fine. Interdivision. I like it.
I think Ed, you would be the foremost authority. What are your thoughts?
Ed, tell us what to do.
Interdivision play is a good word.
Thank you.
Okay,
appreciate it.
All right. It's also Worcester.
Worcester.
Yes.
Okay.
I said Worcester. All right.
Worcester.
Listen, I'm not from Worcester, but in case anyone who supports the Generals happens to listen, we gotta get in their good side.
For sure.
We've already prefaced this whole show by saying we don't know how to pronounce things. So if I pronounce something wrong, that's because I didn't grow up in and around this area.
Yeah, he grew up in Vandalia.
I grew up in Dayton.
Well, it's like that thing when I was saying Selena, and you're like, it's Salina.
Yeah, it's Salina. Yeah.
Oh, okay, noted. Duly noted. All right, gentlemen, great work in the Suburban League, Natty and American division conferences. I think we still need to work on the American version of it. And quite honestly, I'm with you, Sean. I was doing the Natty. I was covering the national conference for a while, and I didn't cover that either. I'm also not cool. So there's that. All right, I will. Let's shift over to the newly formed the remaining 8 public schools after Fairview left. The Holy Name and Elyria Catholic went to the North Coast Conference, a reprise of the old North Coast League. Now we have the Cleveland West Conference, and let's get going with those recaps. First, Bay Village took on Cleveland Central. Catholic Bay shellaxed the Ironmen by a final count of 33-0. Junior running back Rocco Hereditario picked up where he left off last year. He scored 3 rushing touchdowns. He had 24 carries for 165 yards. Senior quarterback Michael Farrell, threw a 4-yard touchdown to Ethan George. He also ran for a 6-yard touchdown. And Vince Buchel had an interception for Bay. With the win, Bay improves to 1-0. They will travel to Field to take on the 1-0 Falcons of the Metro Athletic Conference. Central Catholic is 0-1. They will take on 0-1 Cleveland John Hay of the Senate Athletic League. All right, Buckeye and Cloverleaf. This is a long-standing Medina County matchup. After a competitive first quarter, Buckeye just put the boots to the Colts. The Bucks scored 42 straight points. Buckeye senior Troy McCann, he rushed 24 times for 289 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Wow.
Now, my math's pretty good, I think. But for every 4 touches, he had at least 1 touchdown. 25% of his rushes went for touchdowns. Think about that, folks. His touchdowns covered 3, 25, 1, 5, 43, and 47 yards. He tied the record for the most touchdowns scored in a game with Trevor Tomey. Big props to the Buckeye linemen. Victor Shevchenko, 4-year starter Curtis Gunkelman, Jack Swing, Ben Lazar, and Kyle Landis. Braden Sopko got the other touchdown for the Bucks. Junior quarterback Turner Dolata completed 6 of 9 passes for 79 yards. He also rushed for 41 yards, kind of picking up where Casey Murray left off last year. But for Cloverleaf, Ethan Gray, he did score a 58-yard touchdown in the first. He rushed 5 times for 76 yards. Colts receiver Isaac Smith, impressive night. 5 passes caught for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. He caught a touchdown from 2 quarterbacks, Nathaniel Tomes and Jordan Latner. With the win, this was a 49-21 victory. With the win, Buckeyes 1-0. They will host the Southwestern Conference's Amherst Comets. Cloverleaf is 0-1. They will host 1-0 Keystone of the Lorain County League. On Saturday afternoon, this was a Saturday afternoon affair. Lakewood took on Cleveland John Marshall. Lakewood shellacked Cleveland John Marshall. As Sean aptly pointed out, a game was played here. Lakewood triggered a running clock to start the second half. They jumped the Lawyers with 43 first-half points. Senior quarterback Avery Holt, a big star from last year's team. He rushed for a few touchdowns. He threw for a couple touchdowns to lead the Rangers. Senior Jalen Chappell had a touchdown reception. It was just a really good game for the Rangers all around. Lakewood wins 43-6. Lakewood's 1-0. They will travel to 1-0 Lorain Clearview of the Lorain County League. Now, remember last year, Lakewood beat Clearview on almost a last-second touchdown, and that almost carried into the playoffs because Clearview had a really good year last year. So we'll see if Lakewood can recreate that magic and get another victory over the Clippers. John Marshall's 0-1. They are going to take on Rocky River in their second matchup against a Cleveland West foe. Normandy took on Shaw. And for Normandy, Shaw scored the first points of the game. They had a touchdown in the first quarter. After that, it was the Elijah Gray show. I talked about him in the preview. He is something special for Normandy. He's been doing it for years now. Seems like he's been around forever. But Normandy scored 31 unanswered points. Gray rushed for touchdowns of 28, 4, and 7 yards. He also passed a 9-yard touchdown to Ray Brown. Gray finished with 23 carries for 231 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. He had 1 passing touchdown. He also had 44 yards on a punt return, so he finished with about 283 all-purpose yards. For his efforts, Elijah Gray is the Cleveland West Conference's Player of the Week nominee for the Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week contest. I know what you guys are thinking. Troy McCann had 1 million touchdowns. Quite honestly, Troy McCann's going to have 1 million more touchdowns. And I think Buckeye is they're going to set themselves up for a special season, and Troy McCann's going to be at the head of that. So those of you who are not particularly pleased with my choice there, there's a rhyme and a reason for why I do what I do. So Elijah Gray, quite honestly, has been doing it for quite a while too. So he gets the nod here. Troy McCann, I guarantee you, will be a Player of the Week nominee later this year. Omer Taylor also tapped on a 23-yard field goal for the Invaders. He also hit all 4 of his extra points. Normandy 31, Shaw 7. Normandy's 1-0. They will travel to Streetsboro. They are 1-0. Streetsboro of the Metro Athletic Conference. Shaw is 0-1. They will host 1-0 Erie from Pennsylvania. Rob mentioned this at the top of the show. North Ridgeville and North Olmsted, they played a game. North Olmsted showed up, and not a whole lot went right, unfortunately, for the Eagles. They get absolutely shellacked by the Rangers. North Olmsted 0-1. They will travel to 1-0 Midview. This will be a second matchup against the Southwestern Conference. North Ridgeville, they're 1-0. They will host another Cleveland Westville in Valley Forge. Rocky River took on Painesville Harvey. This was a pretty good game. But it was wide receiver Cam Balkowski. He had a good coming out party. He had 11 catches for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 2 tackles on defense. He also broke up a pass. Senior safety Josh Mammers, he had 2 touchdowns. He recovered a fumble for a touchdown. He also caught 4 passes for 41 yards and a score. Junior quarterback Ryan Taylor, he transferred in from St. Vincent St. Mary. But for the Pirates, he completed 20 of 28 passing for 197 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also rushed 8 times for 69 yards and a touchdown. Junior, head coach Josh Wells certainly has the Pirates looking pretty good again this year. Rivers 1-0. They will travel to 0-1 John Marshall on Saturday. I'm going to be honest with you, a game is going to be played next Saturday. It's just a matter of how many points Rocky River wants to score. Harvey is 0-1. They will host 1-0 Geneva of the Chagrin Valley Conference's Lake Division. Valley Forge took on Gilmore Academy, and Valley Forge, they were just no match for the Lancers. They got up big on the Patriots early. The Patriots, they did rush for over 140 yards. They did pass for 50 yards, but it just wasn't enough. Valley Forge, the Patriots fall to the Lancers by a score of 49-14. Valley Forge is 0-1. They will travel to 1-0 North Ridgeville, the Southwestern Conference. Gilmore is 1-0. They will travel to Warrensville Heights of the Lake Erie League to take on the 0-1 Tigers. As Rob covered this game earlier, Midview took on Westlake in the SOT featured game of the week. As we saw there, Midview got the Duke there. Midview 34, Westlake 14. As we mentioned before, Midview is going to be, they're going to be taking on, I believe it was North Olmsted, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas the Westlake will be taking on Rhodes of the Senate Athletic Conference. The player of the week again for the Cleveland West Conference is Elijah Gray. 3 touchdown passes, 3 touchdown runs, 1 touchdown pass, almost 300 all-purpose yards across all phases of the game. So he gets the player of the week this week. I think I already went over the schedule, but there it is for you for consideration there. Make sure you take a look. Again, Bay's going to take on Field, Amherst and Buckeye, Lakewood and Clearview, Normandy and Streetsboro, North Olmsted and Midview, Rocky River and John Marshall. That game will be played on Saturday afternoon at noon. North Ridgeville and Valley Forge, and Rhodes at Westlake. All right, that is what we have for the Week 1 recaps in all of our respective conferences. Let's turn it over to our EVP of social media content, Josh Jeffy, as always, with our the Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance Player of the Week contest results. Let's shoot it over to Josh, and with some help from Rob as well, and let's see who won.
Can I just point out that before we start, I
Mm-hmm.
just noticed this, Josh. It's 100 degrees in the shade currently, and you're wearing a long sleeve zip up shirt, and it bugs me. And I don't know why, because I would be sweating through the camera.
You probably
Sean,
are, actually.
John, you just got to keep it cool, baby. You got to keep it
He's
cool.
cool as a cucumber, baby. He's cool as a cucumber. I love it. It's just
It may be 2,000 degrees outside, but my basement where Studio J is, it's a calm, cool 65 probably.
You know what?
So it's
That's my
little
fault.
chilly.
There you
That's
go.
my fault. I forgot that when you enter Studio J, it's a calm, cool, collected area. That's my fault. It's been so long.
Exactly. So back to the lecture at hand. Our week,
Wow. I like that.
our Week 1 Raymond Felton State Farm Player of the Week nominees are Casey Miser from Highland. Kason, no, you're going to have to help me with his last name. I'm not going to lie to you.
Diallo.
Kason Diallo from Medina, Elijah Gray from Normandy, and J.R. Byers from Amherst. Hey, guys, not too bad. 351 votes this week, and with 44% of those votes, it went to Amherst J.R. Byers. So the Southwestern Conference taking away the first
Let's go.
Player of the Week for this year. I'm going to keep a tally. Let's see what's going on. You have to believe the favorites are going to be Suburban League because there's quite frankly more teams and better teams and better athletes. So they will for sure just talking a little smack, especially in the Natty. But
America division.
Congratulations to all the nominees and thank you all for voting. We'll be back at it next week. And if you do have any nominees that you would like to nominate yourself, please let us know on Twitter, Facebook, or even email us. We love to always have some fans come out with some nominees, of course.
And I'm showing them right now our Twitter page that is hopping, with the votes and all the highlights. You could have went on there. I'm scrolling right now. You could have saw all the nominees. Go on there and check it out. Also, go on our Instagram and go on our YouTube. Subscribe, and you'll see all the video highlights. You'll get notified when we have live shows. And go to sportsontappodcast.com where we have even more content. So there's content all over the place for you. Check it out, enjoy it, and be part of Sports on Tap's coverage.
Excellent. Very good. Thanks, guys. And let's wrap it up here. Next week, this coming week, it is a Labor Day weekend. So people, I know we got some plans throughout the weekend, but I think we have
assignments, Ed. We have assignments.
Oh, sorry.
Assignments that need to be taken care of, unfortunately.
Apologies. Assignments. Yes, we are on assignment. We are not here. Peeling back the fourth wall. So those of us that are covering games, I should never say us because that will usually never be me. But those of
you never know.
Was that?
You never know.
Yeah. Well. If I'm covering a game, that means I should probably be on at the sideline of a Brunswick as a Brunswick Blue Devil coach. And I'm not quite there. I'm not quite back to that status yet. But we'll see where things go. I have a cousin who is a freshman who is a really, really good soccer player, and is currently not attempting football at the moment. But we'll see how things go in the coming years with that. So all right, that's enough about me. Where are we going? Where we're going to be going this week, gentlemen?
Well, I'll start us off, Ed, and what a great night it was for Week 1 down at Cleveland Brown Stadium. But last year, guys, at Week 5, for the first time ever, I was at Buckeye, and what a great atmosphere it was. I mean, the Stewart section, and it was not turf, but it was grass field. It was. And
yeah, that's how we used to play, youngin. That's how we used to play.
That's right.
Back in our day.
You got dirty, and you washed your clothes afterward.
Right, back in your guys' day when you used to play high school football for the Blue Devils. But that's where I'll be on Friday night at Buckeye, where the Amherst Comets, led by the SWC Player of the Week for our Sports on Tap, J.R. Byers, will be taking on the Amherst Comets. Will be taking on the Buckeye Bucks, and what a great matchup this will be. These were Coach Strom and Coach Grant Dennison were two coaches from the GLC, and they'll be going at it for the second straight year. Rob, you covered this game last year, and it was kind of a close game. It was, and we'll get to see how close this game will be this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a close one last year. Buckeye pulled it off, but yeah, Amherst hung around for a while, and then Buckeye just warmed down in the trenches for the most part.
Yeah, we're looking to see if we'll see how it's a Division II versus a Division III matchup there, but that usually hasn't stopped Buckeye from punching up in class, especially since they've joined the Greater Cleveland, the Great Lakes Conference, now the CWC. So I think this will be another great game between between a good program in Buckeye and an up and coming team in Amherst. We'll see what they can do there. So I know we have that game. I think we're talking offline. I know some assignments are going on this weekend. So I don't know if we have a second game picked out yet.
We do, Ed. We do.
Yes.
But wait, there's one more.
Yes, I'm going to be making the long trip, the annual pilgrimage to my alma mater, as well as Rob and Ed's to Brunswick. It's a hefty 4-minute drive. Looking forward to that, but I'm actually looking forward to see how Coach Carter and the Blue Devils come out and play against Olmsted Falls. I think it's going to be a really tough game, a physical game, and I think it's going to be very competitive. So very much looking forward to seeing not only how Brunswick can build on their solid game against Berea Mid-Park, one many thought that they could have won, and to see how Olmsted Falls can continue to build on what they had in that narrow win over Solon. So it's going to be a good game, I think.
Be a big game at Brunswick there. It'll be kindergarten night. I will actually be there. My Eddie will be a part of the many kindergartners that'll be on the field before the game. And parking is at a premium now because they've knocked down pretty much everything that used to be what we knew it to be. So we gotta get there. We gotta get there early, or we might just plan on walking from where we live, Josh. It might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, really.
I agreed
to get there. So, this would be a great game. I'm with you, Josh. I think Brunswick opened a lot of eyes last week with a narrow defeat against Berea Mid-Park. You haven't seen an offensive output by a Brunswick quarterback in a long time like that. A prolific passing offense. Just being able to go up and down the field on an opponent through the air. With all due respect to the prior quarterback, it wasn't. Sean Barnett just had a game against a very good team in Berea Mid-Park. We'll see if they can build on that with against Coach DeLuca and that very, very, very tough Olmsted Falls team. I mean, that team will punch you in the throat multiple times, and we'll see if Brunswick can get off the canvas when that haymaker lands. I think you make an argument that whoever had the ball last with enough time was going to win that Berea Mid-Park Brunswick game, and Berea Mid-Park happened to have a little bit more time on the clock when they got it last than Brunswick did. And just a great game all around. Congrats to Coach Hunick again on the win, and we'll see. I know Coach Carter doesn't believe in moral victories, but he's got to be happy about the effort that happened there.
I mean, that was a pretty big offensive performance. I mean, realistically, I didn't think they had a ton of those big offensive performances, but I'm going to guess, and Josh is going to be down on the field, Coach Pace, if he's given up, 34 points, I'm going to guess he's not going to have a voice, and he's probably going to be running up and down those sidelines. So
I'm going to have to watch the video to make sure that I can edit out some of the words if it's not going too well. But I think we know Coach Pace is going to have his team ready to go.
Absolutely.
All right, there you have it. We are going to be at Amherst versus Buckeye and Olmsted Falls versus Brunswick. All right, that is it. That wraps it up for week 1 of the Raymond Felton State Farm Insurance High School Football Show for here on Sports on Tap. We thank you for watching us on YouTube. Again, follow us on Twitter at SOT Podcast. Check us out on Threads at SOT_podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, on Facebook at Sports on Tap. Check out our website, sportsontap.podcast.com, and send us any notes, statistics, suggestions, Player of the Week nominees to sportsontap@gmail.com. Stick around for another word from our sponsors. And for Rob Troutman, Josh Jeffy, Sean Duffy, and Noah Jacobson, my name is Ed Dick. This is Sports on Tap. We'll see you on the other side.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.